I bring to you incredible entrepreneurs that I personally know, that I endorse, that I either work with or have done business with. And tonight is no different. I'm excited to be able to introduce to you an incredible guest speaker. In fact, I've known this gentleman for 20 years. And it's been said that multiple streams of income are imperative. And you're going to hear today from a former NASA engineer who embodies that and more. My dear friend and this colleague of mine has been a financial mentor for 20 years, sharing it with everybody. And I'm bringing him to the show to really share some secrets. And Haas Khaku is a top 5 realtor in Southern California. So just the tip of the top. He's got multiple real estate investments, and we work together in a home-based business where he makes 6 figures, earned over $1 million with that as well. So these multiple streams of income have allowed him to do some amazing things, whether it's travel the globe, some philanthropic type ventures where he's fed unhoused brothers and sisters and loves veterans. And so what a great day to be doing this. And he lives a life that most people would only dream about, especially when he was growing up in South Africa. And his goal now is really to educate everyone possible on how to be the best with your money and multiple streams of income. So please help me welcome to the show, Haas Khaku. I'm glad you're here, sir.
Thank you so much, Ms. Deering. Appreciate that. Shall I call you Ms. Deering or Kai?
Oh, please call me Kai. Come on, friends. We've known each other for 20 years.
You call me Haas.
Well, I know today is Veterans Day, and you and I were chatting just before we went live on the show. I just would like people to know about your philanthropic heart, because it's one thing to make a multiple 6 figures in multiple ventures, but I think to whom much is given, much is required. And you've been really good about always giving back. And so today's Veterans Day. Tell us a little bit about, kind of how you gave back and how you spent the day today, so people get a flavor of your heart and who you are, because we love you and I know you.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Kai, and truly you've tugged at my heartstrings right now. One of the things that I've been in this country for 40 plus years, and this is the best country in the world. I don't care what you're talking about. And our freedom has never been free. It has always been guaranteed by our soldiers, our armed forces, and even our police here and everything else, all the law enforcement. And I have felt that because I was not able to do any service for the country, that this is my way of giving back. And I'm passionate about helping the veterans, especially the ones who are, unhoused, who are indigent, who are going through mental and emotional stress and hungry and all that. I just cannot stand the fact that this big country is sending billions and billions of dollars overseas to other countries. And forgive me if I'm a little political here, but that they cannot take care of our own veterans. I call them my veterans. They're not our veterans. They're my veterans. They're your veterans. And if we cannot help it, then shame on us. So this is just my little way of saying. So we actually go and every Thanksgiving, every Christmas, and every Easter, we actually go and serve the housing for veterans here, that those who are in fallen hard times. They actually have a housing base, and we go and serve them their dinners, their Easter dinner, their Thanksgiving dinner, their Christmas dinner. On Super Bowl day, we actually go to the VA hospital here and do a what do you call a tailgate party, but inside the hospital, barbecue with ballpark franks and burgers and stuff like that. Just a little way to say thank you.
Yes, and I know you have lived on, I think it was like 4 different continents growing up, and you love the United States, I think probably the best out of all of them. But tell us your background and how you ended up in the United States. I think this is a
Sure.
great story as well.
First of all, my background, I look like Indian, talk like Indian, eat like an Indian, think like an Indian, but I have never been to India in my life. I was born and raised in Kenya, in Africa, and then we went on to live in Pakistan from a high school, then went on to England for more college, and I came here when I was 18 years old and went to engineering college, got my degree for aerospace engineering, and I was hired right out of college by NASA to work on their space shuttle program. So that's kind of like my background, and I've been in places where there are dictatorships. I've been in places where there are elections, but they're only they're skewed election. They are only for the people who have the money, and they get elected over and over again. this country, I think, has the best role model. Are we perfect? No, I don't think so. Here's the good part. Everybody who's on this earth is not perfect. So don't expect it from others.
I agree. I totally agree. So I know you have got multiple streams of income and you are a NASA engineer. And my favorite question to ask everyone, because it seems like most everyone started in corporate, got burned out. And so how did you, one, what made you transition? Was there a moment of disgust? Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. In fact, after I got my college degree, I went to work for
Where did
NASA
you get your college degree, by the way?
at Northrop University right here in Los Angeles.
Got it.
And I'm a aviation buff also. So I actually got my private pilot's license when I was a engineer. I used to forego dinners and lunches just to have money for flight school. So, but that's still in my blood. Every time I see an airplane, I'm always looking up or whatever. I just saw the air show in Miramar Air Force Base in San Diego, and oh my mind, that just blew my mind. But to go back to what we were talking about, my transition happened. I was at my engineering college and I was approached by somebody in my community about buying a real estate investment. And he said, "Hey, you're just getting started. So how about you invest a little bit of money and you live there, and then that, it's a 10-unit apartment building and we'll share the profit." And I didn't even look into it. I said, yes, sign the documents. And that was before my other business started, where I had access to lawyers. I wish I had lawyers then. But anyway, short story is that they took us for a ride, and thank God we didn't lose that much money. The guy who sold it to us made a ton of money, but we got out with just our skin, left on. And at that time, I decided that I'm going to go get my real estate license as a revenge against not having, not getting anybody to fraud me or defraud me ever on a deal. So as a list, I was at my office, and during lunchtime, I'd study my real estate books. And my engineer friends would say, "What are you doing?" So I'm getting my real estate license. I go, "Oh, really? Please let me know when you get your license, because I'm looking for a home. I'm getting married." I go, "Oh, okay." Then another cousin, friend of mine, I said, "Did you get your license? I heard you're getting a license." And that from day one, I'm so blessed that all my business has been word of mouth and relationship building. I mean, you're great at that, Kai. I know you've got some amazing relationships also. And that makes life so much easier, doesn't it? When it's a relationship business. And the second thing that helped out is while there at the engineering firm, Rockwell International, I joined the Toastmasters. Now, you
Ah,
think I have an accent now? Wait, wait till you hear what I sounded like at that time. But Toastmasters actually didn't just give me help with my language, my words, but also my fluidity, as well as expressing the ability to express yourself. And so I definitely recommend Toastmasters for anybody who's not into public speaking, etc.
so let me back up. So you're a NASA engineer, space engineer. You're studying for your real estate exam because you got taken for a ride and you figured I might as well know what I'm doing because I'd like to invest more.
Yeah.
And then you ended up saying, you know what, I need to learn how to speak a little bit better. I might as well join Toastmasters. So that's all while you've got a full-time job.
Yeah, we had a full-time job. I was married full-time. I was actually we've always had side gigs in the past also. So this was just I was doing engineering full-time, real estate full-time, working 80, 90 hours a week. And then I got married to my wonderful wife. And she said, "Hey, you do the real estate thing. I'll keep the job." And then she brought the benefits. And without her, I would not be at all where I am. I'm very lucky, Kai. You know my wife.
I do. I love her. Tahara is great. So how long did it take you? So there's a couple of lessons here. Number one is, he turned a tragedy into his destiny. He thought, wow, I'm going to do this. So second thing that was great here is you can start a venture alongside what you're currently doing. You do not have to, throw caution to the wind and quit your day job, which, I think can be really dangerous, especially if you do have a spouse and some financial obligations. How long did it take you before you transitioned? And when did you know you could kick that job to the curb and be a full-time entrepreneur?
Short answer is 1 year.
Oh, wow.
We actually, the reason being that in my part-time career with real estate, my first year, I actually made more money than my full-time job at the engineering company. And I said to Tahara, if I can make this on a part-time basis, I bet you I can double it in a full-time basis. That's exactly what we did. Went full-time, and that second year, we just doubled our income and never looked back.
And Wendy loves Toastmasters too.
Ah, hey, Wendy, good to see
That's fine.
you.
So I guess my second question, which was going to piggyback off that. So you went full time into real estate, which would be for most people in and of itself a total career change, a transition, going from an engineer to kind of sales. When did you start seriously adding the real estate investing piece on there too? Because I mean, there's only 24 hours in a day, young man. When did you think that you were comfortable to do that?
So, candidly, I wanted to start that as soon as possible because I'd heard that. But unfortunately, and being completely honest here, my real estate broker was not did not know anything about accumulating wealth. All he knew about is spending wealth. And he told me, "Oh, don't worry about the investment. You can go get your Mercedes first, and you go get this first and that first." And we did that. And he said, "Oh, all you have to do is sell one house, and you pay for the Mercedes for the whole year." And so I was a victim of bad financial mentoring first.
Yeah.
And being in this country, looking up to this guy who had a Rolls Royce, who had a boat in Balboa in Long Beach, and was was just doing so great with over 1,000 agents. I got unfortunately we got sucked into that system, and we just started spending and spending and spending. And I had a Mercedes at that time in the 90s. I had a Mercedes with a $800 payment, a lease payment. And
Wow.
after 5 years of that, when the real estate market tanked and I actually got into legalshield, I remember when I got into this side business, it was introduced to me by somebody who came in a Honda Civic, and I had my Mercedes S-Class parked outside. But he did not know that I was broke at the time. The market was tanking, and I was bleeding. I was just bleeding financially. And he sent me this godsend, which is my side gig right now. So I credit that, and also the education that I got in this side gig business, because they teach you how to have sound financial principles. And I've got a book here. I should pull it out. It's called The Millionaire Next Door.
Mm.
And that book completely, if you were to ask me, Haas, what changed my financial trajectory is the Millionaire Next Door. I am a complete believer in that. And he taught me about, I instantly recognized my broker in there. And all he did is make money and spend money, make money and spend money. He had to declare bankruptcy when the market went down. But fortunately, we accumulated a lot of debt ourselves, over 100,000, 110,000 credit card debt. My house was upside down by $140,000. I mean, talk about being underwater. How about being 250 feet underwater, 250,000 underwater? So when we started this side gig, one of the things about the side gigs that you do is that it teaches you, if it's the right company and the right mentorship, it teaches you how to live a life of success as well as significance. Okay, a lot of people have success in these side gig businesses, but they don't have a life of significance. A life of significance means it got so good that I mean, I still do real estate full time, right? So it got so good that everybody wanted to be around me because I was so positive, I was so happy, I was so bubbly all the time. And they said, "Well, Haas, what? I saw you 2 years ago. You completely changed. What's going on?" And I told him it's called PD, personal development. And that personal development from my mentors, who are actually some of them are even gone, completely changed our lives. It's not about making money, but it's about what are you going to do with the money that you make. It's also about uh, are you willing to share or not? And for those people who accumulate money and don't share how they did it, I feel pity for them. I feel sorry for them. That knowledge is one thing, Kai, that you can give away every ounce, every page of knowledge you have, and you still retain that and even more.
Yeah,
You know,
there's so many lessons in there. You have no idea. And some of them, like I've always said, you and I are like-minded. We live below our means. We, try to be good stewards of it and good examples of it. We both drive old cars. My car's almost a decade old, but it's a beautiful BMW SUV. There's no need to flash and trash.
no.
Nobody needs that. And I think, like you said, there's a lot of people that are flash and trash and they look good, smell good, but they're just broke at a whole nother level.
Yeah.
And so we're often a warning and an example. And I've been both, you've been both.
Yeah.
And so that's a really good place to be. We have a viewer on today, Atma, who has a full-time job. And his question was, what is your best advice for someone who has to or wants to make a big change in their career? I know he would love to fire his boss. So what's some great advice you can give Atma?
Absolutely. This is a very common question, Atma. Uh, Everybody wants to look at and wants that answer, that magical formula or whatever it is. What I found is that I turned my real estate around. I used to hate what I did, my real estate business. I hated my boss, I hated my manager, I hated everything. But then when I did this personal development and started looking at them in a different way, I found out that they're just like anybody else. They're human beings also. A lot of them are also looking for a way out. And all of them under a lot of stress, right? Especially management, upper management, and your boss is everybody else. You've been a boss of many people. You know how tough it is. You squeeze from both ends, right? The employee below you and the bosses above you. So for me, it became a challenge of doing so well. Jim Rohn has that famous phrase saying that you work at your job to make a living and continue to do that and be the best that you can be at your job while you develop your side business and make a fortune out of that one. So that's exactly what we did. First thing we did is I kept on going. I still do real estate full time. I get a lot of my legal shield, my side gig business from my real estate clients and the other way around as well. So personal development helped me make that change. Now, if you don't like your job at all, or if you have a huge, you know, big negative person in that in as your boss, maybe look around and make yourself better so you become more attractive to others. But please don't make a mistake of leaving your job too early.
Yeah.
A lot of people did that, and my recommendation is uh, when I
I
saw
did.
personal development for the first time with our company, and my God, I said, we used to overdose on it. We started out with a company that had a satellite channel, and every night we would fall asleep watching that personal development channel. And then they said, oh, the satellite is going to go away. So we taped on the VHS tapes. I don't know if you remember those. You may be too young for that kind. But those VHS tapes, I used to put them on the longest play. So each tape would record 16 hours. And I just left them, recording every day. I change out a tape. So, I have a library of about 35 VHS tapes with 35 days of personal development. But absolutely, and the neat part is that it changed my wife too. It helped change my wife also. When we both went on that journey, the personal development journey, it life was different. So in our side gig, we did so well that we earned these trips that the company was providing, right? We've been what, 20, 25 trips here together,
Insane amount. Yes.
and insane, all expense paid. All
Yeah.
expense paid while I'm working full time at a real estate office. You know how many trips my real estate company took me on? I made a lot of money for them. Zero. Okay. Not only that, but when there were conventions, I would have to pay between $800 to $1,000 just to attend the convention, then the hotel, then the airplane, then the food. And then I come to this other company, and other company, and they say, "Oh, we'll give you, all inclusive to an exotic location." And it was Cancun at the Moon Palace. I think you remember that.
I
And
remember that one.
and I
We
go, "Are
used
you
it for our
kidding me?"
honeymoon.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. That's right. And so did Liz LeCue, I think, do the same. So I said, "Oh my God, there is another world out there outside of my real estate. There is another world out there outside of my business." And that is a lot more attractive because I control my own destiny. I control my own future. They offer the trip. Here's what you got to do for the trip. Guess what? I did it. And we've been on those trips before. So for me, it's always been about what quality of life do I want for myself and my wife and my family, and I go for it. And that's what I think anybody can do, especially in this country. Uh, and I will tell you that don't hate your job. Don't anything that gives you the blessing that the Lord is sending you. Don't hate it. Okay, just embrace it, make the best out of it, and always say, "Thank God I have my job." You know that right now there's 11,000 Facebook employees that have been let go. Is it Facebook or Google? I'm not sure. Facebook,
Yeah, it's LinkedIn. I mean Twitter, and it's Meta. So yeah,
Meta, yeah. 11,000 people,
yeah.
and they had good jobs. I mean, they were all making a six-figure plus income, gone in 30 seconds. And what, when we approach those people before, say, "Oh no, I'm good." How many of you have heard that? "Oh, I'm good. I don't need any more." I bet you if you go back to them today, they will say, "I should have been ready for that."
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting. So Amanda asked, because I know we all have people that we mentor. She was asking, in your side business, who is your role model and why?
Sure, Amanda. I have had several in different categories. I was blessed, like you, Kai, to co-author a book, and mine is called "The Power of Mentorship for the 21st Century." I wrote a chapter in there. Besides that, was Zig Ziglar, Brian Tracy, and so many others that wrote that. And I wrote in there that too many of us are chasing one person who could be a mentor in everything. And it's not fair for us to expect one person to be everything.
Hmm.
My real estate mentor, my mentor in my business, was a gentleman named Aaron Berger. Aaron Berger is a kind soul, gentle man, loud, boisterous. He was the Johnny Carson of this Hispanic television, and
Oh,
he had a lot of money. But and he taught me that even purchasing real estate, you have to have a different mindset. And if I may, I'll share that with you. He goes, too many people purchase real estate or investments thinking that they would want to live there. It has to be the right area, the right price, the right this, the right that, school district. And he goes, no, those are not for you to live in. These are for people to rent from you. And they will decide where they want to rent. All you do is you provide them a place and you take rent from them and pay off the mortgage. And he said that if you can't do it yourself, gather up a bunch of friends and do it. Because at that time, when we got started with the side gig, we had lost all of our money and our properties and all that. And he showed me how to make partnerships and investments, etc. And so I use him as my financial mentor, but his personal life was not that great. So
mm,
I have somebody else that was really great with their personal life. I had somebody else that was really great with my side gig business. I had somebody else who was really great in real estate, my friend Aaron Berger. So what I in that chapter that I wrote called The Power of Mentorship, in fact, I might just bring that book tomorrow. Okay. And see if I can give away a few. And so I wrote in the chapter that you cannot, just like nobody should expect you to be the mentor in everything, because I know I know some amazing people who are absolutely living paycheck to paycheck, but what a mentor they are, what a daddy they are, what a husband they are, what a father they are. and I like that part from the family side of it. And you do that. You do that with everybody. So Larry Smith, for example, another one, he's been my financial mentor. He's also a designer named Frank O'Coin. And him and I, every time we meet a convention, we're out talking about properties and businesses and all that. So because of all that, today we do have rental properties. We do have some that are with partners, and these are all paid off because each of us put a little bit of money and bought it from the auction. This was in the 2010 when real estate was in a tank. I made over 100,000 in my side business, and we went out and bought rental properties with it. I didn't go out and buy a Rolls Royce, which I could have. Didn't get a Bentley, didn't get a huge thing. And you're right, my cars, I've got 3 cars. 2 of them are Priuses. They're both 10 years plus old. And the only thing is under 10 years, 9 years old is my Mercedes. And I paid cash for that Mercedes. Okay. So, but I'm now generating money with my real estate with the cash that I accumulated on the side.
No, I completely agree. And you made me laugh because I think I'm not sure what year my husband's Prius is, but it's way older than 10 years. So I agree. Couple of questions that are
You're
coming up.
still driving that? Good
Couple
for
of questions that are coming up for me personally right now is, I have a little bit of investments, but I'm pretty much 100% with my company. And so I don't have to juggle. I did at the beginning, right? I had an insurance company and I worked with this on a part-time basis until my part-time income equaled my full-time income, but I did quit too soon. So I was a little bit hungry for a little while. And I remember what it was like to multitask for those few years, but I don't know what it's like to multitask for 20 plus years. Tell us about that, and how do you juggle 3 different businesses that are each making you 6 figures? I mean, you've got a 6-figure real estate, a 6-figure home-based business, a 6-figure, real estate investment. How do you do that? I mean, do you have VAs, virtual assistants? How do you do it all?
No, I only have one email. I only have one cell phone, and I only have one boss, my wife. Not just, but I don't. To be honest, I don't know. I just do whatever is needed at whatever time is needed. Okay, so I'm not much of a big planner that tomorrow this is my schedule and etc. etc. I let my day run me because I know how to put things off and how to focus on things that are done. For example, one of my properties right now has a mold issue, and that means the tenant has to be out of there. But I talked to the tenant and I said, look, either you can just leave and go find something else to rent, and you'll never be able to find anything to rent for the price that I'm charging you because I've not raised the rent in like 3 years. Or you can just go find another place to rent, to just live at while I fix your home. What do you want to do? And she goes, no, I can go live with my mom. Okay, great. Now, so today, the people who are going to do the mold work was there, and we made it work. They're about 45 miles away from me, and I want to contain my time is the most important thing right now in my life.
For
So I didn't
sure.
want to go drive all the way and get a key and all that. So I just told her, hey, go to Home Depot, get a lockbox, put a couple of keys on your for your house in the lockbox. Here's the code you put on. And when the mold guy came, I said, okay, here's the code. You go into the house, you do it all. I'm sitting at home. So I multitask, but it's called smart tasking. Okay. Smart tasking is you don't need to be involved in everything. If you can delegate it, that is my delegation. So I do the same thing. My real estate, yesterday we did a thing for veterans outside my real estate office. We brought in a big helicopter, one of those Hue helicopters. It was trucked in, and a bunch of us got together, did some prizes and giveaways, and met some stores. So there, I met people who are looking for real estate, and I met people who are looking at LegalShield. So I met brokers there, I met mortgage people, I met real estate people. All of those are part of my side business or my main business. And but more importantly than not, I just enjoyed the time that I had. I'm so blessed, Kai. I'm so blessed. I can't tell you. Sometimes I look up and I say, "Why did you bless me, Lord?" And because at some points I think, my goodness, this is like I'm living a dream.
But you
But
probably didn't think that when you were $250,000 in debt. So you've put your time in the trenches, you've
yeah,
paid, your dues to be able to do that. And I loved this too, by the way. Smart tasking. I thought that was an amazing, quick thing there.
and
We
I'll
have
tell you if
time,
I may say one more thing, and
please.
that is when we were that much in debt, we actually thought about, hey, maybe let the house go. We go live in a two-bedroom apartment. And then we thought about declaring bankruptcy for our credit cards. Everybody I talked to said, oh, just declare bankruptcy. You're going to start all over again. And I felt wrong doing that. Now, I
Yeah.
know there are times when you have to do it, that you have to do it. But, when I hate it when this big guy says that I bought Twitter for 44 million. Now we're going to declare bankruptcy. And so when that happened, I said, I will not. This great country of ours has given me so much opportunity. The last thing I want to do is jip anybody out of their money or anything else. So we hung in there and we paid off the money. There was a time, Kai, at that time, my wife came home one day, and you know how she pressed the garage remote and it goes up. Well, it did not go up. She calls me. I'm at a presentation, and she goes, I think the lights, I think the garage door remote is not working. My remote has battery problems. I go, I'm so sorry. Go to the Ralph's parking lot. I'll be home right now. You can use my remote. In the meantime, I knew exactly what was going on. My electricity has been cut off.
Yeah.
And that day was a turning point in my life. So I went there. I paid the money to have them turn on right away. Fortunately, they were still working at 7:30 in the evening, and my wife knew it. My wife knew what was going on, but she never ever said, "That's your fault. You should have paid the bill." This, that, this. No, no, it's not the way we operate. We love each other unconditionally, and so next time, what happened is, as soon as I had $1,000 deposit from my business, I went straight to the utility company and I laid it down. I said, "Here, I don't want to ever see a bill from you again." From then on, every time the credit was 300 or less, I would go there and put another $1,000 down. And so we believe in paying our bills.
Yes.
My good friend Frank O'Coin said that be happy that you get a chance to pay a bill. That means that you're paying for the things that you already bought from people.
I agree. And I feel like, there are certain extenuating circumstances, but you created the mess. You got to figure out how to get out of it.
Yeah,
And don't take the easy road, right? Like
yeah,
figure it out. That's where, you really do have that big muscle and you learn so much from getting yourself out of something without taking the easy road, like you said, of maybe the bankruptcy or whatnot. Amanda's asked another great question. We have time for just a couple more. She said, by the end of the year 2022, what's your goal within your business and your side business and why?
and I thank you. It's a good question, and I will tell you, I don't discuss personal goals in public.
Okay. I just think it's funny though. Like I think there's a broad arching thing here that is, a lot of people have given up on their goals for 2022. They said, yeah, now I'm just working towards 2023. So I'll answer that one.
Mhm.
I feel like, 2022 is not over. And those who push hard in 2022, imagine what that does to your psyche if you give up and say, nope, I'm just going to go for it in 2023. All those goals that I had for 2022, maybe I didn't hit them. So I feel like you really have an opportunity now when everyone else is sleeping and on holiday to take market share, whether it's in real estate or whether it's in your side hustle or whatever the case may be. I was always taught, Hal Ferrish was a big mentor of mine. And he said, just do what everyone else is doing, do the opposite. So we bought our house in '09. You know what I mean? Like when everyone was getting rid of them, we bought them. When everyone's taking a nap over Thanksgiving to the end of the year, we're going to be pushing as hard as ever. So
Exactly.
I think just how to beat the masses and have success in life is just simply whatever they're doing, do the opposite.
Yeah, and you brought up a very good point. Even during normal days, only 20% of the people actually do 80% of the business. But during the holidays, 5% of the people do 100% of the business, because everybody else, like you said, has given up and all that. No. So for us, we have multiple streams of income. So sometimes the real estate is up and the business is down, and sometimes the properties are up and sometimes the properties are down. So I don't, my life does not depend on one strength. You've got multiple incomes in your household. So for me, I have a cumulative goal. And there's a book called The One Thing that's also up here in my library. In fact, let me see if I can get it. This thing here called The One Thing.
Great book.
Is by Gary Keller. Actually, he happens to be the CEO of Keller Williams, where I work. And so I have this book, and it talks about the one thing. What is your one thing? My one thing, as when we got started with our side business, is to create ourselves an amazing retirement. That was the one thing. I didn't care whether it came from real estate, came from side business, properties, stocks, whatever it is. That was the one thing. And today, I'm so proud to tell you that that's exactly what we have created. We have done that because that was our focus. And you always, whatever you focus on expands.
Yeah. Now I know you're going to be flying up to my neck of the woods. You're in Southern California. I'm in Northern California. I make my home right in the heart of Silicon Valley. And you've been very gracious to come up and share, because we do work together on what is your side hustle, my full-time hustle. And you're going to be sharing with some folks some important information, an overview of kind of who we are, what we do, and how we get paid daily for helping folks at 11 a.m. Pacific. And all time zones in between. There is a virtual option for guests that want to come learn a little bit about what the side hustle is. And you can see it at the bottom scrolling. It's fortuneandfeast.eventbrite.com. Because we're going to have a little Friendsgiving potluck afterwards. But so if you're virtual, you're welcome to go register. It's going to ask you if you're a guest, who invited you out, so that we can make sure that they can answer all your questions afterwards. But I know we're going to do some training as well. So tell them a little bit about what's in store, because I know we're going to hear from our law firms. We're going to hear from our local folks. What are you going to share with the folks tomorrow? What should they look forward to in the few minutes we have remaining?
Sure. Tomorrow, basically, we'll go over actual notes and scripts and what to say and what to do. And I will be doing a big piece on mindset, financial defense, financial offense, what the way the poor people think and the middle class thinks and the wealthy think, the difference. So tomorrow, we're going to talk not just about our side gig, but we will talk about how to live a life of significance, a life where it doesn't matter how much money you make, you still have a good life. Of course, the more money you make, the easier it is. Today, whenever there's any time to give money, charity, whatever it is, to the mosque or whatever, I'm always up there. I'm always working to make it happen. So tomorrow we'll do that. Then we'll talk about exactly what to say, exactly what to do, how to recruit, what we call, recruit up, means get people involved in the business. As I said, when I got started in my real estate office, the person who signed me up came in a Honda Civic and parked it right next to my Mercedes S-Class. And guess what? He still recruited me. He still signed me up. So how do you do that? Well, that's one of the second thing I'll focus on is a lot of people right now coming out of the pandemic and during the pandemic had some really hard times mentally, hard times, challenges, whether it was family or business or income or some were health issues. How do you get out of that? So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. And I will do a big Q&A session as well. So bring your questions and be happy to answer them. And Kai, before I forget, I just want to thank you for all the leadership that you are showing out there up in Northern California. Not only you're a personal friend of mine, not only a great leader in the company, but the heart that you and Mark have is just amazing for all you do. For those of you who don't know, I call her my superwoman sister. I only get 24 hours a day. I don't know what or how, but she does things that take 36 hours and still gets a good rest. So thank you for all that you're doing, and I'm definitely looking forward to being there tomorrow morning.
Yeah, and you hit on a couple things. We've got 4 minutes left. One of them was just the mindset. I'm really excited about that because, I mean, I'm going to tell you for sure, Bill Gates is not teaching his kids to go to college, get good grades, go out and get a good job. There's definitely some things that through the school of hard knocks, right, Mr. Khaku, you and I have learned because we didn't have a rich dad that taught us those things. We had to learn it ourselves. And so if we can take some time off your learning curve tomorrow on just how to be better in business and life in general, I think that's going to be huge. And you did mention, you're going to hit upon the pandemic and things like that. And it's funny because Atma asked this question too. He said, what has been your biggest pivot in the pandemic? So if you want to just share that really quick too, I'm curious. I think that's a great question.
Sure, Atma. My biggest, actually, it was a very good one. My biggest point in that one is that the world is at our feet right now. Okay, we used to only be able to recruit locally and send out what we used to call long distance packages. And now on Zoom, I'm talking to people. I mean, Atma is from British Columbia. I mean, no, in Alberta out there. And what a great way! What a great way to expand your business. So the pivot was that this is no longer a local business. This is a US business. This is a Canada business. As soon as we expand overseas, I will be jumping on that as well. I know, Ms. Kai, you did the same thing. And so, if I may leave this, a lot of people expect that the sponsors or their mentors are going to lead them up to the fortune. The fact is that they are very busy leading those who are stepping up rather than pulling people up. Okay. I will reach back and stretch my hand, but you've got to reach out with your own hand and hold on to my hand and go up with me at the speed that I'm asking you to be with me, etc. On all these 20 plus years, I know it's true with you, nobody had to call me one time to be on a conference call, to be on a Zoom, to be on one of these chats that you're having, to be coming to the presentation, to be coming to the Super Saturday, to be coming to the convention. When the convention happened, my upline, my sponsor, never had to worry about, hey, Haas, are you going? Are you coming? Are you going to be back? No, never, not even one time. So you need to step up. For those of you who are serious about doing that, you need to step up because the people at the top, people like ourselves, you and me, we have all the time in the world to help our team, all the time. So never ever say that we don't have time to help you, because I think sometimes when people say, well, I don't want to call you to bother you, what they're saying is that I don't have the time to call you. I don't care enough to call you. And, I'll get real tomorrow.
Well, I really appreciate the time that we shared today. I appreciate all the audience participation and the questions.
Yes,
And
thank you. Great questions. Appreciate all
yeah,
of
they
you.
were fun. I love this. I might have to resurrect it. I haven't done a show in a while. But I just want to say thank you again, Mr. Khaku. Safe travels tomorrow. And for everybody out there, I just want to say this was another great episode of On the Fly with Kai, where we give you tips, tricks, and hacks for the entrepreneur. And with that, take care, take charge, and we'll see you all over the top. Bye-bye.
Happy